It seems that US President Donald Trump's patience with the Kremlin has run out. He no longer only openly states that he is dissatisfied with the position of the Kremlin and personally Russian dictator Vladimir Putin. The head of the White House began to speak to Moscow in the language of ultimatums. Thus, he gave Putin 50 days to conclude a peace agreement with Ukraine, after which, if there is no agreement, the US will impose 100% tariffs against Russia and its trading partners. It also became known that the US president asked Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky why he has not yet hit Moscow. The 100% trade tariffs will not be a lethal measure for the Kremlin, but can indeed create a lot of problems for the aggressor. Nevertheless, it is likely that Putin will not accept the US ultimatum and will continue his war because he is convinced that the West is cowardly. A Tomahawk strike on his residence in Novo-Ogaryovo would help change the aggressor's rhetoric and actions. This opinion was expressed by Russian opposition activist Olga Kurnosova in an interview with Obozrevetel media outlet. And in fact, Trump has been talking about it all along, even during his first presidential term. But so far, it's just words. Let's wait for him to actually hand over the missiles. As we remember, just recently, his speech that he made during his first cadence, in which he threatened Putin to bomb Moscow if he attacked Ukraine, was published, and he said Putin believed it 10% of the time. I think this conversation is on the same theme. It's something that should show Putin the seriousness of Trump's intentions, he said. As long as Putin is in power, I don't believe in peace. But anything is possible. I don't think he has a plan B, simply because he is still convinced that the West is cowardly and he is now in a position to scare it. And everything he is doing, absolutely everything, is aimed at exactly that. If he had a plan B, he wouldn't have attacked Ukraine. For question, how do you think a strike on Moscow with an American missile would change Putin's position? Or, even in this case, we can't expect big changes, she replied such: to do this, we should not hit Moscow, but Putin's residence in Novo-Ogaryovo or on Rubliovka, where Putin's inner circle lives. This could really make a difference.
The soldiers of the occupying Russian army have attempted to shoot down a flame-throwing drone belonging to the Ukrainian army in the eastern direction of the front. As seen in the footage shared on Telegram channels, the occupying soldiers, in panic, targeted the drone approaching their positions with small arms. Despite the continuous fire, the drone, which ignited nearby positions, manages to move away from the area. It is worth noting that the Ukrainian army has been consistently using flame-throwing drones to burn the positions of the occupying Russian soldiers.
Магазины, блядь! Сюда идет! Дорогу, ебаный в рот! Давай! Съебался? Он уехал, блядь. Уехал? Да. Пидорас, блядь!
Drone technology has fundamentally changed the nature of warfare in Ukraine over the past 3 years. Both Ukraine and Russia are increasingly using more sophisticated small drones, which have led to the abandonment of large armored vehicles. Instead, both sides have moved to smaller, more dispersed units to reduce their vulnerability. However, as drones have become more common, both sides have begun using them specifically against these small groups, which have little or no defense against aerial threats. Forbes reports, in response, Ukraine has begun producing special anti-drone ammunition that can be fired from standard automatic weapons. The ammunition is expected to play a key role in deterring a new Russian offensive. Ukrainian defensive initiative Brave One has released a video showing soldiers successfully destroying a small drone using a new type of ammunition. The ammunition is a standard 5.56mm round that is compatible with NATO small arms, including the CZ Bren and M4. Although technical specifications have not been disclosed, it is reported that such cartridges are already in limited use in practice. According to the publication, after firing, the cartridge disintegrates into approximately 5 fast-flying elements. When firing in bursts, an effect resembling a shotgun volley is created, which allows drones to be effectively hit at a distance of up to 50 meters. According to Brave One, Ukraine is ramping up production so that every soldier receives at least one magazine of these rounds. This allows soldiers to defend against drones without the additional burden of carrying a separate weapon. Instead of changing weapons, a soldier can simply replace the magazine, which takes significantly less time and requires less coordination. The special rounds come as small drones play a key role in Russia's summer offensive to breach entrenched Ukrainian positions. Russia has been using drones to scout and target Ukrainian defenses before launching a ground assault. Previously, this role was usually filled by artillery, but drones are a cheaper and more accessible option, especially given Russia's current resource limitations. The new NATO standardized ammunition is likely to prove extremely useful to Ukrainian troops in holding the line. It is expected that it will be sent straight to the front lines, giving soldiers a quick and effective tool to combat drones. The article says, the media writes that when neutralizing UAVs, Russian troops will have to rely on artillery again or launch frontal attacks on fortified positions. But artillery strikes are less accurate, require more resources, and reveal the location of batteries, which themselves become targets for Ukrainian drones. And direct assaults without UAV support are fraught with high losses with minimal results. In a broader context, the use of these rounds could change the current cat-and-mouse game between attack and counter-drone weapons. They offer a kinetic method of neutralizing drones, acting as an alternative to common electronic warfare systems.